Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And I just have a question for you all. Did you survive? Because listen, there was a lot of panic going through the market yesterday. People calling for like I said, people will call for bear markets every single time that the price pulls back to a solid support zone. A lot of our altcoins, yeah, they didn't look too good yesterday. But I also called for lower prices yesterday, no matter what. I said XRP could go down to 96 cents. We went a little bit lower. I said that HBAR could go down to 36 cents. We went a little bit lower, but it's totally fine because long term, these prices that we see in the market aren't going to matter too much. I'm going to refresh the market, see what's happening. But overall, I told you guys that I would update you today on pretty much what I've seen happening in the market. A lot of things are actually playing perfectly in hand with what I was actually looking for. So we're going to talk about those as well. So overall, Bitcoin ranging around the 43K mark. Excuse me, wow. Ethereum ranging around the $3,000 mark. We do see, a few altcoins are down. We see XRP is down a little bit, still sitting around the 91.5 cents. I'm actually going to open this in a quick tab just to see where we were at in terms of price. But we see a lot of altcoins, especially even Link, looking fairly cheap right now. I'm not going to lie. Algorand down significantly. A lot of opportunities in this market right now, and I know a lot of people are going to come on this video. Oh, how could you say that these are opportunities? We are headed into a bear market. Blah blah blah. A lot of people continue to say that, and it's just comical to me. Listen, this market it has a way of shaking a lot of weak hands out. I'm still holding strong. Listen, I'm not going to tell you guys, not to sell, and then all of a sudden I'm going to be selling in the background of things. I was fully transparent with you guys in the Discord yesterday. I even bought a specific asset, not going to give it away, but if you guys do want to know about that asset, you can join the Discord and pretty much learn about that. But we see down here, we hit about 88.95, so we hit about 89 cents. So roughly about 7 cents for my, target price. And when I was talking about that, we were trading at around $1.04, $1.05. I said once $1.05 is broken, and once we dip down below $1, we will pretty much go down to 96 cents or somewhere around there. And we dipped fairly low. I'm going to be completely transparent with you guys. We dipped fairly low. We lost some solid support, but it's not a big deal. Same goes for HBAR, right? We dipped all the way down to about 31.8, almost 32 cents. Some of these levels are very significant, especially when you look at the 1 month span, because look at the prices that we are at now, or at pretty much the lowest end, and look at where those prices were in terms of pre-pump zone. So it's basically a full reset, gave a lot of people opportunities. Those who capitalized on those opportunities, great for you. I think that these are low risk, high reward factors here that we're talking about. This market, like I said, will shake a lot of people out. That's exactly what happens, right? It's not an uphill battle the entire time. We're going to have pullbacks here and there. We're going to have, 30% dips on altcoins. We're going to have 40% dips on altcoins. It's just the matter of being able to buy the fear and the blood and not being, the person that sells the bottom and buys the tops, right? That's not what we do on this channel. I've told you guys that multiple times. I was there with you guys along the whole way in the Discord. I was tweeting yesterday on Twitter as well. A lot of people were saying, oh, wow, look at HBAR, it's bad. I don't even care about the FUD that comes out of this market. Like, everybody plays into fear. A lot of people were calling for a bear market yesterday, but let's get into it. Let's talk about what's happening. So first off, the indices, they did close red today. They were actually terrible today. In fact, the Dow Jones was down 614, almost 615 points. And if you look at the low today, 33,613. That is for the Dow Jones, roughly down 2,000. That's pretty bad. Now I'm actually going to open all three of these on the chart and actually look at them even closer. But we do see that the Nasdaq came down 330 points and the S&P 500 is down 75 points. Now in regards to the Dow Jones, let's open all of these charts. While these load, I do want to talk to you guys a little bit about the dollar, because the dollar is doing exactly what I wanted it to do. Hit resistance, pretty much reject the resistance, and now come back down and possibly even retest the resistance or even break down further. What I want to see from the RSI is something similar to back here where it gets a little bit of life and then it collapses. But we are right now, if we look at a horizontal line currently from our current levels, there is some resistance here. This is what I want to see. Going back to August 12th, we touched it, came back down, retested the bottom support. This is actually a solid resistance point overall, but I want to see something where we retest a bottom down here. Maybe even retest 92.74, break that, retest 92 exact. That would be perfect. It would do something similar to this where we come back up, touch it, pretty much reject off of it and come down lower. That would be great for the dollar. But overall, I'm not too concerned in terms of the dollar strength. I think that the $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill most likely gets passed, and then that will pretty much be the catalyst event that actually pushes the dollar lower. Initially, it probably will rally a little bit, but I think long term, I think that bill is not good for the dollar. Now, in regards to the Dow Jones, so let's check out the Dow Jones as it looks like it was in a free fall today. Look at the RSI. The RSI is very significant. Let me move it up just so that you guys can see it. And let's go to the bottom. This is what I want to. This is personally what I want to see being held. The RSI at 90 or at 29.12. This is very significant. Overall, we're basically on support going back to October of 2020, but this could be rough for the Dow Jones. This could be rough for all stocks, actually, in regards to this a little bit of a free fall event. It could do something that it did back in October of 2020, where it pretty much free falls and then regrasp it very fast. This week could be a little bit volatile for crypto and most altcoins, and even pretty much all, markets around the world. So that means all commodities. That means pretty much everything will pretty much trade a little bit volatile this week, as stocks pretty much collapse a little bit. I don't think that this is going to be a stock market collapse or crash where everybody's rushing to sell their stocks or anything. I just think that this is short-term volatility. I think that this will bounce back shortly. I think that this is following the same little cycle that we get every sort of, October-ish, where we get a sell-off and then we pretty much regrasp the market. Most likely this will take this entire week to get back up into these healthy levels for the Dow Jones, but it does not look good for the Dow right now, currently. Now, in regards to the NASDAQ, let me leave this. In regards to the NASDAQ actually looks fairly healthy. It looks like it's coming down and retesting the 100-day MA. So tomorrow we could see a little bit more volatile price action on the NASDAQ down to 14,400. That would be totally healthy. It wouldn't be too bad. The RSI looks like it's almost getting close to the bottoming out point, down at some support level, even going back to March of 2021, or it could even bottom out at the May of 2021 bottoming point. So I'm watching the RSI closely on the NASDAQ currently. Overall, it doesn't look too bad. It's kind of trading between the 50 and the 100-day MA closely here. So totally fine in my opinion. I'm not too concerned on the NASDAQ entirely, so it still looks good. The S&P 500, on the other hand, again, looks fairly strong. It looks like it kind of bottomed out a little bit below the 100-day MA, but it looks like it regrasped it fairly fast. Most likely, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ don't do too much, volatile price action throughout this week, but the Dow Jones, on the other hand, has a lot of room to make up. Now, in regards to this, right? We're watching the dollar closely. We're watching all this stuff closely. But let's check out Bitcoin, right? So in regards to Bitcoin, a lot of people were concerned. I told you guys, short-term volatility in this market is totally fine. I still think by the 27th we'll be on our way back to the upward momentum that we need to be in. And then obviously at the current bottoming point for the RSI. So this is what I was actually looking for, or I should say looking at. So we go to the past, because right now when we're looking at this bottoming point down here, like this could all be considered support when we bottom out down here. But overall, what we actually just targeted and hit, let me zoom out, is a little bit of a support going back to September 2020. It was a little bit of support going back to December of 2000 or January of 2020, almost December. Now this is that crash in March, so we're not going to go off of that overall. But from these levels here, we could dip a little bit below the RSI on this, but I don't think that we go too much lower at all in terms of Bitcoin. I'm not going to say that the bottom is in entirely, but we did bounce off of some support down there. It looks a little oversold to me, realistically speaking. And when we look at where we actually bottomed out at, this is also a little bit of a resistance point going back to August and also July. So realistically speaking, a bounce from here wouldn't be too bad. And I do think that we retest a higher support at some point in time, or a higher resistance point even as well. Throughout this week, like I said, we could see volatile price action playing out. It's totally fine. But realistically speaking, even in terms of where we dipped back down to is the same dip here. You know, I remember when we dipped down here, people were calling for a bear market from the beginning of September to now. This was a 20% drop. You know, the drop on Bitcoin yesterday was actually not that crazy of a drop. This is a 12.98% of a pullback. Okay, and just to give you guys a quick insight on that, when we look at most of the pullbacks, look at this, 12.65 before we ranged even higher. Again, here we go. This is roughly a 9% pullback. Pullback from here was pretty much, again, almost a 9% pullback. So realistically speaking, this pullback that we had, this 13% almost, is nothing, figuratively speaking. And even in the sense, let me get rid of the RSI so it's not too crowded. Let's go to the weekly, first off. Okay, let's turn off all the indicators on the screen. And let's go back to 2017, 2018. Okay? And the reason why I'm doing this is because, first off, look at the all-time high back here. Roughly almost $20,000, okay? And that is so minimal compared to what we are seeing now, first off. But look at the dip back in September. And this dip in September was very significant. It's nothing to disregard. Okay, in regards to this, first off, we're going to go to the topping point here, which I know that I've done all the pretty much multiple times. This was a 45% of a decrease in price. Okay, from our current levels, and I know that the screen is getting crazy right now. It's very hard to see anything. But in regards to what we've seen in September already, okay, from the major topping point to the major bottoming point, we have seen only a 19.82% drop in price, and we don't need to go lower at all because we already had a very significant pullback back here. But even in regards to what this percentage is, you know, on the way up to the all-time high, you know, we seen panic ensuing this entire time, but look at these percentage pullbacks. We're looking at 31, looking at 26, almost 19, almost 28%, and then obviously we had that major crashing point back in May. So these pullbacks are totally healthy in the sense on putting us to a higher point. We need pullbacks in this market. If you do not have pullbacks, guess what ends up happening, right? We go down just as fast as we go back up. So this bottoming point here, this major support zone at about, you know, 42K, I think that this holds. I don't think that we go much lower on Bitcoin. In fact, I will tell you guys right now, I will bet against myself, or I will bet on myself, I should say. I would bet against anybody who thinks that we do go lower, and I will say that, sure, we will see volatile price action, and yeah, sure, we could test the 100-day MA down at 40.7K, but I don't think that we go much lower from here. In fact, I think that we pretty much range sideways a little bit throughout this week, and we'll most likely see some movement up, some movement down, but overall, I think that we hold the 42.5K zone. I think that that is a strong support zone. I don't think that we go lower. Dominance was rising yesterday, but again, look at dominance. Dominance cannot break the resistance point at about 42.66%. It pretty much pumps a little bit above it, but it gets rejected off. Yeah, sure, this is showing some bullish divergence on the RSI right now, but I still think that we get a topping point at some point here on the RSI, most likely around this point here, going back to August 9th. We'll probably reject off that resistance point and actually come back down, and that's where we will see dominance come down lower as well. Now, who knows how long this is going to take to play out, but I do think that it is going to be around that September 27th time zone. So a week from now, 1 week from today, we'll most likely be back into our bullish settlement period for Bitcoin and most altcoins. all of our alts, all of the major altcoins, even going back to Ethereum, right, have bottomed out at major zones. First off, Ethereum looks still fairly strong, in my opinion. I will argue that it looks fairly strong. Look at the levels that it tested. It only tested, even going, let's just throw a horizontal line on the current bottom price, right? Look at this. I mean, we didn't even test the bottoming point from going back to August or even going back to August 19th. I mean, realistically speaking, we did not lose many technical supports at all. I mean, yeah, sure, you know, we broke a little bit of support at the 3,400, at the 3,100 level, but we still look very good in a sense on, you know, we didn't break down too far. Even Bitcoin didn't free fall lower. You know, I seen people calling for 38K, calling for 32K, calling for 30K. People were calling for 20K yesterday. We've seen people like Crypto Whale saying that we're in a bear market. I mean, overall, when we look at the current level on the RSI and we go back, look at the support zone from May 29th. Look at the support zone going back to March of 2021 before we went to the all-time high. I mean, overall, the RSI, the supports, everything have held fairly strong. From a technical standpoint, things look fairly strong. Even in terms of Ethereum dominance, we haven't lost too much dominance factors. Looks like it's coming down and retesting a little bit of a bottom support. This goes back even to July. I know that, you know, RSI for dominance doesn't really matter too much because at the end of the day, it is dominance, but dominance does play a big role in regards to our altcoins pumping because we don't want Bitcoin dominance to be high when Bitcoin is dropping in price, but it is the idea that the entire market has been showing strength throughout this entire drop. You know, it wasn't a free fall event. It wasn't a major crash either. Like, you know, overall, it's roughly like a 40% drop on most altcoins, which I get it. It's significant, especially for those who are new to the market or were investing in at high targets. I told everybody, do not FOMO in to HBAR at these current levels. Wait for a pullback. Wait till we see some more, you know, droppage in price or something like that. I will never tell anybody to FOMO into an asset, no matter how good an asset looks. For an example, you know, an asset could be, you know, it could be gold, right? Like pure gold, that people could be saying that it's going to $1 million tomorrow. It looks extremely good to go to $1 million. There's a huge green candle on it. I will still tell you guys not to buy in because that's just not the logical way to go about this market. If you missed the train on one asset, say for so you missed the train on a Hedera hashgraph and you're like, wow, this could have been like the next, you know, whatever coin, just find another one. This market is filled with gems. Almost 12,000 cryptos. I'm sure you could find another undervalued asset that doesn't have a massive green candle. So with that being said, I think that the entire market, for what it is worth, looks fairly healthy. I think that this is a slight, you know, bump in the road, but overall, I think that we still look very good for the major bull run this year. The only factor, I mean, and the only thing that would not allow us to have a major bull run this year is a major stock market crash. And I will tell you guys that right now. So with that being said, I hope that kind of clarifies the overall market update. I think things look fairly good. Overall, our altcoins did not suffer too bad. I'm totally fine with it. I'm still in the green. You guys should be in the green if you did follow most of my trades. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on. If you guys do want more free content, you guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, I hope that you all have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.